right, LSU fans, my name is Bryce Kuhn. You may know me. I guess they kind of know me, right, Brune?
I mean, yeah.
Why not?
You've been on the beat.
I've been on the beat, right?
Here we are.
Matthew Brune, my name is Bryce Kuhn, and this is the On3 Bengal Tiger podcast. Did I say it right?
Yeah, you got it right.
I was really worried I might say the previous occupation, but I did not. No, hey, we appreciate everyone tuning in. Make sure you like, make sure you follow, subscribe to the channel as well. And look, hey, day 4 of LSU fall camp, and really, Brune, a big one, I think, in terms of what we were able to see, right? You were out here the first couple of days, indoor from the ceiling, the roof. Yeah. But today we get it to be out there, and obviously you've posted a story, I posted a story, but just kind of, I guess, big theme, big picture, what you saw out there.
Yeah, I thought the defense won the day for the most part. Even on the line of scrimmage, then you take it to the secondary. I thought it was a really strong day for the defense overall. I'm interested to see how the offense kind of responds from this. We have 4 weeks before the first game, so it's one practice in the beginning of August. So who really knows how much it means? But going into this fall camp, I think we would say the offense should be, I don't want to say farther ahead, but it should be more developed. We have a lot of faith in Nussmeier. The receiving core is very talented. We know we're going to get from Caden Durham and so on. But I think the defense really across the board today was more physical, was more energetic. I thought I heard them more, be more vocal. So that's really where I start with today. I thought the defense won the day, and we'll see what that means, if anything, moving forward.
You mentioned more vocal, and the guy that stands out, Bernard Gooden. Yeah. He emerged as a favorite guy for you and I. And, I asked Tyree Adams about this in the player interviews portion of just the physicality and leadership up front for defensively. It's no secret. They got to be better at defending the run. And you kind of see from different guys, different vantage points, Don McKinley looks like he's taken maybe a jump here in year 2. I mean, how important is it to kind of sift through the talking and realize, hey, these guys are actually, pound for pound, putting good reps against the offensive line?
Yeah, that was encouraging. I think even if you go back to the very first practice there, where they weren't in full pads or anything like that, but I thought the defensive line had a lot of good reps, and they won pretty consistently here. Just like anything, you could take it as good for defense, bad for offense, whatever. But I do want to focus on the defense here with Bernard Gooden being a highlight through the first few practices. I think Don McKinley, Brian Kelly talked about him and his strength. He continues to put it together. Ahmad Bro, I think, has had a solid outing so far. And then the edges, to me, have been really I think Patrick Payton and Gabriel Rutherford, whether they're starting together or whether they stagger them, I think that's an elite edge group replacing Braden Swenson off the edge. So the defensive line, I think that's a good place to start, where we know kind of what we're going to get more so now than what we were 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's more of just seeing the guys in action and talking about what you talked about with the edge position. I mean, look, Kevin Peoples, I've lauded him for the past 2 years as maybe one of the more important hires that LSU's made and Brian Kelly has made. You saw what he did with Swenson and Savion Jones just in 1 year. And a guy like Gabriel Rutherford, great bend around the edge, good athleticism, has a really good first step. You talk about dreaming up scenarios, right? I mean, that third down pass rush package, Peyton, we know what he can do in terms of production. Relaford, you've got a third and short, second and short. You can put Pyburn out there. Tyree Adams said today that Jamari Butler is a guy they feel like can even be, really good in coverage in terms of getting out to the flat and stuff like
really
that.
Good
so
athlete.
I think it's just the athleticism up front that, they had to go get some guys. They went and got them, and, I mean, it's early, but I think that's encouraging.
Yeah, the depth is significantly, I think, more developed this year, and I think that's true on the edges, and even that's true at the defensive tackle spot. It's going to be interesting to see how it continues to develop, because you do have a Clemson team that you don't go into it being like, oh, they're going to run the ball 40 times. So how does the pass rush look? How are they able to balance that out? I think we know with Blake Baker defense, there's going to be some exotic looks in there. They're going to bring Perkins off the edge at times, which we did see as well at times, to him playing like defensive end. So they're going to be creative. We know Whit Weeks is going to be in the backfield. So I went into this year saying, all right, if the defensive line can just be solid, we know Blake Baker's going to scheme up some things in order to create pressures and get them into being like a top 20 TFL sack team this year. But the fact that the defense line has been able to hold its own, maybe you can get pressure with 4 or 5 and so on. You don't have to bring as much pressure. That alleviates a lot of the concerns that I had in terms of how exotic are they going to have to be this year. And I think, they might be able to be a little bit more simple than we expected.
Taking it even further back into the defense today, Whit Weeks, not a participant in the full team portion. And really, I guess this way is the most physical portion of the practice for people who are maybe not privy to what full team versus 7-on-7, all those things mean. Not insulting the Bengal Tiger fan base. But you don't know. You don't know who's watching. They know. But I think not a participant, it did give us an opportunity to see West Weeks alongside Tylen Singleton, who got some first team run. A little bit of a surprise to me, maybe a surprise to you as well. Sure. But Devon Keys there as well. And his brother West, we talked to him in the media portion. He said it's really just like a pitch count. Like they're just trying to work Witt up to the point where when he gets ready for Clemson, he's full go. Linebacking core, we saw Perkins kind of line up there as well, maybe a 3 linebacker set. I mean, I think it's just good reps for the younger guys, right? Like Devon Keys and obviously Tylen Single to get more stuff.
Yeah, and Perkins can line up anywhere. He's going to line up anywhere, whether it's linebacker, star, nickel. I mean, we've seen him play. This is, in my opinion, his 4th year. This is 4th different position, going from edge to nickel his sophomore year to inside linebacker to star. I know star and nickel is kind of similar, but I think he's going to be really interesting to watch in terms of how he fits runs and how he's able to cover in space. I know Witt Weeks they're working him back. I think Perkins, I don't feel like he's at 100%. I don't know about you.
I don't think so.
I feel like he's maybe getting there 80, 90%. We're, 10 months since the ACL tear at this point, so you don't expect him to be at 100%, but you have this 4-week kind of ramp-up period that's interesting. But the linebackers, I do like you said, you don't want to take too much from it. Witt's going to be out there against Clemson. Then it's just kind of figuring out how the rest of the rotation works between West Weeks, Devon Keys, and Tylen Singleton. All capable guys that need to prove themselves this year, to be honest. Like West was injured last year. Devon Keys is a sophomore. Tylen Singleton, young guy as well. So it's going to be interesting to see who emerges next to Witt Weeks at that Mike linebacker spot.
Kalen Moses got some action at one of the linebacker spots in the 7-on-7 there as well.
Started to sprinkle in there a little bit.
CJ Jim Coley, we saw him.
Charles Ross has been in and out, backup star as well. With him and Jim Coyley have been kind of going at it, that backup star spot a little bit. But the freshmen are definitely an interesting group with this defense.
Back into the defense as we kind of wrap up the defensive portion of this, and we'll talk just briefly about the offense you can. But to me, the back end, the one thing I took away was when you have a combination of Cooley and Halsey as your 2 deep safeties, they're going to come downhill with some authority. Now, is it always under control? I think that was something I wrote about. Like, you need those guys to play under control. Yeah. LSU has seen way too much of safety play not playing under control over the past couple of years. But physical presence, Halsey was in the midst of, within 3 yards of the line of scrimmage, playing that box safety role. Deshaun Spears got some run. Javian Toviano got some run there as well. I kind of alluded to just the safety and even the corners to an extent. Not a work in progress, but it's definitely, they don't have their starting group right now. Maybe they do and they're not showing it, but I just think there's, once again, tons of depth, which it's playable.
Yeah, the safety room to me was one of the more encouraging things going into this season, and I understand the question marks that everybody has in terms of you don't know what you're getting from the portal year over year. But, I mean, like you said, the playable depth is pretty crazy. If, Jordan Gilbert, who started last year the entire year, like if I say he's safety 3, 4, 5, 6, I think all of those are like numbers to me that make sense. Like he can fit in that space, because Deshaun Spears, I think, is a good player. Even if you go down the roster of Joel Rogers is a capable player. Tamarcus Cooley, A.J. Halsey, Mansour Delane could even slide over and play safe if we want to. But to your point of the tackling, A.J. Halsey, very good tackler throughout his career, 3 years, and past 2 years at Houston. Tamarcus Cooley playing at nickel, was always around the play. It's going to be interesting to see if Spears and Toviano can take that step as tacklers and as physical presences, I think, in the back end to really get into this rotation. But they are, really good coverage guys as well. So you have different ways that this secondary, especially the safety position, can kind of shake out.
I'm going to say something to that point here in just a second. But one thing on the corners, I didn't get a ton of look at DJ Pickett and those guys. Jakeem Jackson was on my side of the field. He was working against Nick Anderson, very physical presence on the outside. The biggest thing for me, he did get called for a holding, but he was very physical, up underneath the shoulder pads. And I think that's something you want to see, especially in this league with the amount of physical receivers that LSU is going to face, even in week 1. I mean, Wesco for Clemson's a really good football player. They got a lot of great guys on that team. So I think, Jakeem Jackson, there's been a lot of hype about Delane. He played outside and inside today. There's been a lot of hype, obviously, about DJ Pickett, but I think Jakeem Jackson's just kind of a guy that I've been intrigued since he got onto campus. Obviously, good relationship with Corey Raymond, and I don't know if you saw anything else, but that was something, just the physicality that he played with on the outside was encouraging to me.
Jackson should be a guy that's getting real reps throughout the fall and in this season. Like, he started at Florida the first 2 games last year, and he would have started, throughout the season if he didn't get injured. I think you have Pickett, who is clearly the high upside player. Like he's 6'4", 6'5", and he's moving like
195, Brune?
We saw him in one-on-ones, and obviously he can run, he can move and do all those things. We'll see how he fills out and how he mentally processes the game. But Jakeem Jackson, I do think has some polish to him to where he's comfortable being physical. He's comfortable. He knows what it takes in the SEC, at least as an SEC cornerback, to get into that starting lineup. And then Martin Mansour-Delane, like you said, kind of moved around. Mm-hmm. The quote that sticks with me in the spring was like, he said, yeah, they're starting me out at corner, but they're going to cross-train me at whether it's nickel or safety or something like that. So that always sticks with me. I think he's going to play corner this year, but it's just like if they need him to move, he can move. So,
and he's going to be pretty good at it.
Yeah,
like
and
he's got a proven track record.
Yeah, and then you do have Jackson, Pickett, Stamps continues to get number one first team reps. PJ Woodland continues to get a lot of reps. So the secondary as a whole, how they kept to this many guys, it's a whole different podcast. But like that is what the most impressive thing to me is the retention ability for this team.
We've mentioned this at all three levels of the defense: playable depth, and I think situational. Like play. You have guys that can come in and maybe they just exceed in a third down and long situation, but they are going to be the best unit at that. I think this group has the potential to be really good at situational football on the back end.
Yeah, I agree. And we've seen, the past couple years them really not have answers to different tests, like the third and long type things, the third and shorts, I think red zone defense, like all those different situations. You have to be able to be versatile, and they haven't been really at all. So we'll see how it looks. This is practice number 4, but I do think they won the day, and I think it's worth spending a majority of this podcast talking about how good they were because they deserved it.
Offensively, anything you really want to hit on? I mean,
I was disappointed for the
I was too.
Offensively. I was waiting on something. I mean, it's practice number 4. We're here on August 2nd watching it. I am the driver of the Nuss bus. I have been since 2021, but and he didn't even have a bad day.
The pass rush got after him. I will say that.
He didn't throw any interceptions, but he had nowhere to throw.
Yeah.
Like he was trying to fit it into tight windows, incomplete passes. He had to throw away multiple passes. Like you said, the pass rush got to him. Relaford got a sack. They drew a bunch of holding calls. Like I was really taken aback. I thought the receiving group would maybe be further along. And again, the defense throwing different stuff at them. I'm sure
Aaron Anderson not at
Aaron
practice
Anderson
today,
was not
which is a
practicing,
big thing.
which is significant. So this could mean nothing, but I do think it was noteworthy to be like, all right, the offense still has room to grow. Like it still has a lot of progress that it needs to take. We knew about the offensive line. We knew the offensive line would be a question mark. They didn't look great today to me. Like I said, I thought the defensive line won the day pretty handily, but I thought everything else would be in place. And it's hard to rely on that when you say the offensive line's not there, because that's all really what starts
That's the counter argument.
So it's like, if the offensive line's not good, how do you expect anything else to get done?
Yeah.
But I still thought there were times where he did have some time and there were no receivers open, or there wasn't a throw, or Michael Van Buren came in through a pick, like on his first or second snap. So it wasn't even just the first team. I thought the second team didn't really do anything. So really weirdly, a weird day where, like I said, the energy felt low for the offense. They weren't in rhythm. They didn't know what they were looking at. But that's why they still have, 4 weeks of camp to figure it out, which I expect them to figure it out. They should be fine. But I was disappointed for the day for the offense.
4 weeks to the day till LSU suits up against Clemson for that opener. Just one more thing on the offense, I think, in terms of the offensive line. Tyree Adams talked a little bit about this. He said that he feels like they're getting punched in the mouth more than they maybe in previous years. And it's not necessarily an indictment, I think, on previous defenses. You had some great individual players, but maybe that does feed into this narrative, whether you're choosing to believe this or not, that this defense is more cohesive. They do get after. They play more as one together. And he said, frankly, I feel like what we're seeing out of this group so far and what we thought we would see is how they're going to see Clemson, a group that plays really well as one unit. So, it's early, but I think that maybe a compliment if they feel like they're getting punched in the mouth more, which is a good thing and only going to make them better.
I mean,
hopefully.
Look at the players on this defense now that bring energy and bring emotion every time. Jack Pyburn, we just saw Bernard Gooden. The Weeks, we know they're going to be active in there. Jacobian Guillory is always an active voice in there. I mean, that's just off the top of my head. And then you go to the secondary who, has some experience now in there that has some swagger to them. It feels, and then on offense you lose Will Campbell, that was always playing with an
Emory
edge
Jones,
like that. Josh Williams a leader, Emory Jones. You have to now find new leaders on the offense, and it feels like the defense, like I said, the thing that stands out to you when you watch practice of any sport, baseball, basketball, football, it doesn't matter, is who's loud Like, who's
True.
loud? Who is always has the energy? Who is bringing the energy? Like you said,
And
who's
backing
punching
it
the
up.
face? Yeah, and then backing it up. The defense was doing that
Yeah.
the entire practice to me. So now it's offensive line. Who's going to be the leader on that offensive line? Who's going to be the leader of, the receivers or anything like that? So it wasn't something that was on my radar going into camp, but it is definitely something when you watch practice, it's like, oh, the defense got some swagger to them.
Yeah,
and
which
that's
they
good.
need. They
Yes,
need. I've
which
said
they
that
need.
multiple offseason. This group needs that. Whether it's Jack Pyburn, who I think is well documented, whether it's one of the Weeks brothers, Halsey, Cooley on the back end, they have that swagger. And Bo Bordelon said this too, in terms of, I think he was talking with TV, talked about, our emphasis is two things, right? I can say this on it's quote.
Yeah,
quote,
sure,
right?
probably.
He said, we got to protect us and we got to run the damn football. I mean, that's what he said. And it's very simple. He said, we didn't get after that today, but there's always an opportunity to go back. And so the hope is, right, that as fans you're going to hold on to is that this defense continues to play like they're playing and it elevates the offense.
Yeah.
It doesn't decrease what the defense is doing. So
Yeah.
they don't have to play down to a level. But,
For sure.
hey, day 4 of fall camp, we could be sitting here next Tuesday, if that's the day we're out here, and saying, man, that offense, Brune, looked amazing, and
I
that
will be the
defense has
first one
concerns.
here telling you how good the offense was, if that is the case.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, hey, check out. We got fall camp notes. Brune took the offense today. I took defense. I believe you had some full team stuff. I had some and one-on-ones. I had some 7-on-7 content there as well. So make sure you get that subscription. We'll put that link down below in the description. If you're listening on podcast forms, whether it's Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, where do you listen to podcasts? You an Apple guy?
Spotify.
Spotify? Well, then.
And YouTube.
And YouTube. You can check it out YouTube as well. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. All of that great stuff coming, continuing down the road. I'm excited to be here. I appreciate you.
Welcome, Bryce.
Yeah, I'm pumped to be here and pumped to cover some LSU athletics here in 2025. He is Matthew Brune. My name is Bryce Kuhn, and we'll catch you next time here on the Bengal Tiger Podcast.